welcome to the Art of Selling Junk. My name is John, and today I've found some interesting eBay inventory in a surprising place. So we're going to dig into it, and I'll show you what I found. Recently, I went to an auction and I bought a bunch of stuff. Some of it for the house, some of it for myself, some of it for inventory, and some of it just because it was useful. And these are something that I absolutely hate paying retail for. I need to be organized. Your inventory is always something that you have to keep track of, keep sorted, and be able to file away correctly. And I thought these would be perfect for that. They would be great for holding all sorts of small things that I sell online. And they're exactly the sort of thing that I hate paying full price for at Walmart. So I got these very cheap at an auction. I don't think I even have $10 in this whole set. And I just figured they came with office supplies. They were in a man's office, and there was the printer and the stapler and all the other sort of stuff around. So I didn't really look at them. I just knew that these were a good price. So I picked them up. Now, what I've noticed as I've started going through them, and I haven't even been through them completely, is there might be some sneaky stuff hiding in here. And I'm looking and I'm seeing some things I could probably flip on eBay. And I think this is a useful exercise for everyone. This is just standard, boring home office stuff. But there's money in these containers. And I think that there's money in most people's junk drawers, garages, sheds, offices across the country. So I'm going to show you probably some of the least sexy stuff that you can find that still turns into money. And it's everywhere. If it's not in your house, it's in your grandma's house. So we're going to dig into it, go drawer by drawer, see what I've got. And we're going to kind of put an estimate on it, see what it can do, and see what it can turn into online. In this drawer appears to be stationery, cardstock, notepads, all useful things. I mean, don't get me wrong. But what I'm intrigued by are the cards, because these are quite cool, and they're Hallmark. Hallmark's more than just cheesy Christmas movies. There's a collector community of Hallmark stuff. So that gets my attention. This looks to be just a whole bunch more notepads and index cards. Things are really kind of annoying if you have to buy them because it adds up. A lot of page protectors, poly sheets, label makers. Actually, this is exactly what you need to label some of these things if you're going to use them to organize your inventory and your SKUs, which is exactly what I'm doing. I'm going to put all this stuff once they're empty. It's just going to hold my my inventory. But look here, like these are in a nice plastic covering, and it's more Hallmark stuff. So what I'm seeing here is a lot of just stationery cards. I mean, look at that. And again, this isn't something that is going to, get your blood pumping too much. But if you consider that the cheapest place you can probably find any sort of greeting card is the Dollar Tree, and that might be 2 for $1 if you're lucky. So I would say I'm just going to overwhelm someone with a whole mess of stationery at some crazy price per item, where it's going to be, say, 50 cards at 15 cents a card. That way you've got a great buy for someone, and you still have a nice little price point where you can actually sell it and make some money. And I think that'll work. I've never done it before, but I believe because they're nice cards and because that sort of stuff is expensive, you could come in at a price point where someone's getting a steal and you're just getting rid of stuff that was in a drawer. So that's the first thing that intrigues me. Second thing that intrigues me is we've got old software. And so this is a game. That's a game. Internet security, probably not great. But old ink. Dell Photo Ink. So I think that anytime you can find useful parts and pieces, supplies, things used for maintenance, still in the original package, that stuff's great. I mean, and that's a just whole niche category of itself of just things you use to tune up or keep working other things. I mean, and this starts with something as lowly as ink and goes all the way to Freon people using their vintage cars. So what I like about this is it's sealed, it has a number, there's probably a sold comp on there, so it's easy to copy that listing. It's small, it ships. I don't know what this will bring, but $5-10 probably. So, it's something that it's adding up at the end of the day. This one's intriguing too. So this was a controller that someone used, and I don't know if this is something they made 10 million of and was in every house in 1998, or if this is something that people are actually looking for because that it was something nostalgic they enjoyed using with their PC games. I think PC games get overlooked because everyone's thinking Wii, Xbox, Nintendo, N64, all these sort of things. But PC gaming is a huge industry, and we're finding games in the same house as the tulip cards. So it's a big industry, and these things can be everywhere. So I would say that I'm intrigued by the controller, the games, and the ink, and probably going to toss internet security. Okay, we have more software. Microsoft Encarta. Okay, teaching game. Games Workshop. Or Hallmark. Goodness. A landscape design game. See, this is so niche. This is the value on this is either zero or surprising because it's so specific. I mean, outdated landscape gardening encyclopedia. Turkey Hunt. Okay, so there's more old games here, and I think those are worth trying. Even if you have to do like a bundle of them, it could be worth it. All right, I feel like there's at least one more in there, and manual to a bunch of things, which if I can find the manual, that would be nice. Hey, I think that game's in there, so there's the paperwork. So we'll go through this and pair everything up. Now we're on to something. Tape cassettes. What you used to use back in the day. So they're sealed. They have a manufacturer. They have a number. They're easy to look up. There's probably a sold comp, so it's an easy sell similar. And you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. So even if they're $1 a piece, it's $5 plus shipping. If they're $5 a piece, it's $25. If they're $10 a piece, you got 50. I don't know what they're worth, but they're not worth zero. So that to me is a great eBay item just on its face. Now what it actually sells for, I don't know, but when I see something that has been replaced, but there's still people looking for the parts for the old version that they're comfortable with and they love, that makes my little eBay spidey sense go off. I have no idea what this is. If we do yard sale, this will be the thing that people pick up 50 times. Probably followed closely by this patriotic pen duster. And I'm putting them in the discard pile. Maybe that's a mistake. Maybe these are a thing, but we'll have to look it up and find out. Okay. More software related things. a cleaning disc. That's interesting. I've never seen one of those. Those phased out about the time I came along. So we're going to go through that. I don't think this looks just not important. All right. So we're through two of these stacks of bins here. And I would say we've got one, two, I don't know how many listings. Depends on what the games are worth. But I would say probably another two listings there. So that's 4, 5, 6. Ooh, okay. Stack of CDRW. So anytime you can find media, I wish this was still sealed. People are looking for it. There's still people burning CDs, and I don't know that you can just walk into Best Buy anymore and find this. Or if you can, it probably has a premium, unlike what it did, 20 years ago. So I would say we've got maybe 20 discs here. That's enough to make it worthwhile, in my opinion. So that would be a lot. A lot of cardstock, which we'll probably just use around the house for something. Ooh, okay. Thank you cards. Not a ton, so that might just be something we throw in with an order. Someone buys multiple things or something, we give them a thank you for finding the store. And paper. So I would say the last thing that's interesting here is this drawer, where we have really yard sale price labels. For me, that's why I would use them. Various cables. Unfortunately, there's so many manufacturers that are remaking this stuff that these are probably something you can already buy very, very cheap online. So used one's not a great item. But ooh, waxy headphones. Actually, this could be a curious one to look up because everyone's gone wireless. So I don't know if there's people that miss the old ones. Cleaning would obviously be a must. But what I'm intrigued by here is we've got a couple big cables, which these could be so antiquated that only a handful of them are trading hands anymore. I don't know. But that intrigues me because that's not something you see every day. This isn't your latest iPhone accessory. This could be for someone that's using something that's 25 years old and trying to get it up and running, and that could be worthwhile. So I would say that's a maybe. I would say anything USB is probably like the other stuff. It's flooded, plenty of it on the market. But these intrigue me. The old floppy disk, which now we have the cleaner. What do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. But they're in this fun little case, and there are still people looking for floppy disk stuff. So I would say that this is another lot. With the case, 7 floppy disk, 50 cents a piece plus a case. That's a $10 listing maybe, plus shipping. So and I would say the similar idea with the CDs, probably 50 cents a piece, so another $10. And what I'm looking at here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, possibly 9 listings for a bunch of stuff that we were buying anyways to use. And if this sold for on average $5 a piece, that's not a lot of money, and it might not be worth your time. But it is found money. And if you're starting out and you do not know where to find merchandise, and you are beating your head against the wall, going to yard sales, going to thrift stores, seeing things that are overpriced, getting outbid at auctions, sometimes you might just need to start with the most boring things you can get your hands on. Just clean out your house. Go to your grandma and ask her, if she's still burning CDs or using floppy disks. And if not, it's time to list them, because this is the unsexiest stuff you can sell. It's Hallmark cards and it's floppy disk. But if you can turn a pile like this into $50, now you're armed with $50 to go out and buy the thing that you've really got your eye on. And I would say that the lesson here is start wherever you're at. Look for the stuff that's under your feet. Don't pay attention to what's going on Instagram. Don't pay attention to what everyone's bragging about that they found. The holy grails that make their way around the internet. Those are going to come. Everyone's going to have their holy grails. I mean, my greatest hits came well after starting with something lowly like this. Normal, boring, under the radar, practical things. Outdated things. Things that just you can sell for extremely cheap. Stuff that most people don't know about, but maybe a handful of people really care about. That's where I want you to train your eye if you're starting out. Now, if you have experience, you can obviously go after the bigger fish. But right now, if you are new to the reselling, just landing any customer, the act of selling, fulfilling, shipping, getting the positive feedback, all of that is just as fundamental as any other part. So no one can tell you that the positive feedback you get on selling a bunch of cards it's worth any less than if you had sold a $1,500 collectible sign, or you sold a pinball machine, or sealed in the box Nintendo 64. A sale is a sale, a customer is a customer. It all adds up, it all builds. And I think that things like this that are undervalued and everywhere is a great place to start. Because if your mind is trained to look at piles of stuff that no one's putting any value on, you can do that at any level. You can do that all the way up through buying $200,000 pieces of equipment. It's the act of looking at what no one else is paying attention to and seeing how you can find value in there. That's ultimately what every flipper is doing. That's what everyone has developed in some way. And I would tell you, instead of going out and frustrating yourself looking for stuff's everywhere. So I would tell you to just be willing and humble enough to sell cassettes or floppy disks, because it gets the ball rolling. And once the ball is rolling, there's no telling where it ends up. If this was helpful, if you found this interesting, please subscribe. We have a channel full of this stuff coming. It's everything to do with reselling, and I want to be a resource. So if you have questions, comments, things you want to hear talked about, leave them in the comments section.